joined now by McKinney North head coach Mike Fecci, and they just came off of a disappointing 21-17 loss, a really close game, and McKinney North really controlled at the forefront of the game and then kind of let it slip away at the end. And Coach, when you have a game like that where you start off with so many positives and then it just flips in the second half, is it just something that you feel like just out of your control?
Well, at times it is, but the thing is that wasn't our control. You know, to be honest with you, we didn't make plays in the second half, and it comes down to making plays. We made a lot of good plays in the first half. We did a lot of really, really great things in the first half. Second half, they started making plays. We stopped making plays, and we turned the ball over some in the second half, and it's always about momentum. You know, you're going to have momentum shifts all the time. They got the momentum, and we never did anything to stop that. We never took the momentum back. We actually added to it by turning the ball over. So we learned from it, we move on, and we go to work from here.
You came into this game against a strong Carrollton Newman Smith team. What was your game plan going into it, and you seemed to execute in the first half?
Yeah, we knew going in. We had seen them scrimmage Garland, you know, and they held Garland. They did pretty well against Garland. So we knew coming out of that scrimmage that they were going to be pretty good, and they were. I thought we had a good plan. I thought our kids executed real well in the first half and were making a lot of plays. I thought we flew to the football defensively and tackled as well as we've tackled in the first game since I've been around here. And executed on offense well. I thought Ducey early on was really operating like we wanted him to, and things were going well for us. Second half, they just upped their level, and we didn't. And like I said, you know, I hate to beat that down, but we just got to learn from it. We got to take that as a lesson and move on.
Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights and see how this game unfolded. You start off on your first drive, scoring a field goal. You drove deep into their end, and that was really set up by some good defense.
It was. Like right here, Anthony Lazoya, who we moved from linebacker to defensive tackle. Early on was getting lots of penetration, and a lot of guys trying to get to the football and run to the ball, and I was proud of our defense.
Now, you seem to have a very good running attack going into this game. A lot of players doing some good things. You also passed the ball well. Did you feel like you had a nice bounce in that first half?
I did. I thought in the first half we threw the ball real well. As you can see, Ducey throwing to Evan Jones right there. I thought we threw the ball well. I thought we executed real well up front on the offensive line and gave Ducey time to make great throws. Here's Brandon Bladel, who's back with us now on a fade route. And I thought we did. I thought we threw the ball real well.
Let's talk a little more about Ducey. He's a first-time varsity starter coming into this year. What were some of the things you worked on in the preseason with him?
Well, I think with Ducey, you know, I tell guys this all the time, Ducey's been a quarterback in our program now since his freshman year. So he understands and grasps what we're trying to do. He works very, very hard at the fundamentals of playing the position. He listens to Coach Walker when Coach Walker is talking to him about those things, and it showed the other night. He made some really good decisions. He made some really good throws. You know, he can continue to improve. But like right here, that's as good a ball as we've had a kid throw in a long time, you know, to Gabe Constantine, who's our backup quarterback but also plays receiver. So he did some good stuff, and he stands in there. You know, Ducey's a big kid and took a lot of shots, and he stands in there and delivers.
Yeah, he did have to stand in there. They had a really good defensive front three going up against you.
They did, and they kept adding people to the mix, you know, and they ran a lot of different stunts, which early in the year is really tough. You know, because you can practice those stunts and you can work on them and show your kids all week, but until they get out there and see them at the speed that Newman Smith is running them, that's very hard to simulate.
Now, you had a 15-play touchdown drive in the first half. It ended with a touchdown pass to Trey Sanders. Mm-hmm. Talk about how much momentum that builds to give your defense a rest.
Well, it's huge. You know, we ran 44 plays in the first half, and they ran 18. And that's what we try to do. We try to control the clock. We try to go on long drives and eat clock to keep our defense off the field. And like I say, in the first half, I was very pleased with that. And, you know, it's something we did not do in the second half. But, again, we'll learn from it.
And going into the second half, you're up 17-0 at halftime. And then you come out in the second half, you get put back deep in your own territory to start off, and then you talk about the wind that was really wreaking havoc in this game.
It was. That was critical. You know, we got the ball to start the second half, and we basically got 3 and outed and had to punt into a pretty stiff wind. You know, our punter, Jacob McClay, didn't catch it real clean. It wasn't a great punt. We gave them a short field, and they went down and scored, and now they're right back in it, and they're believing, and we were in a dogfight. And, you know, there was times I thought we were about to pull it back out of it, and then, you know, we go down drive, and we throw an interception in the end zone. And just things like that happen to us, but again, you know, we'll learn from it.
How did things like that wear on the confidence of your team? They're up 17-0 at halftime. You probably gave them a speech that you're doing all the right things right now. Just keep doing that in the second half. That opening touchdown that Newman Smith got in the second half, could you tell that your kids maybe dropped their confidence level?
I could tell before that even happened that we were we did not come out ready to go, and that goes back on us as coaches and me especially. You know, our kids need to understand the importance of going out and finishing somebody off. I thought we played hard the entire night, but I don't know that our mental state was where it needed to be in the second half. And they got the momentum, and then we never took it back from them. And that in high school football and any football, momentum is everything.
Now, even though you start out giving up the touchdown, you throw an interception in the red zone later in that quarter, going to the fourth quarter, your team still has only given up 7 points. Talk about your defensive effort in that game.
I thought our effort was really good at times. I thought we got tired, to be honest with you, in the fourth quarter, and they were out there significantly more than they were in the first half. But, you know, we talked to them, we showed them on Friday when we showed the film, this is the time you have to ratchet it up. This is the time, no matter how tired you are, you've got to find a way to make a play and make a stop. And it's identifying those critical plays, those critical moments. We had them in a number of third and longs that they converted in the second half. And going back to it, it was a little bit of an execution problem, and it was an effort problem because we were tired. We've addressed that situation with being tired, and that's something we will continue to work on and get ourselves into the shape we need to be.
Is that a case of just the first week of the season, you're just not sure where your conditioning level is at?
I think so, some of that too. And some of that too plays in the fact, you know, kids are so emotional that first game. They're very ratcheted up, they're very emotional, they're very excited. And eventually what happens is that excitement and that emotion wears off, and what you're left with is just like everything else you do. When you get real excited about something, then you kind of come down off of that. Your body's drained. And I think that happened to us some. I think early on we were playing on emotion, and we were really flying around and getting after it. And I think we got, you know, in the second half I saw us just not making plays at times we needed to make them. You know, and it gets back to we had a few guys that weren't where they needed to be physically, and I take responsibility for that, but we will get them there.
Now they scored a 30-yard touchdown run to make it 17-14. Then your quarterback throws an interception on 3rd and 8. Now, one thing I noticed is that all night long he was under heavy pressure. How much of that is just the pressure rather than him making a bad read?
Well, it's not so much. I think his interceptions, the two that he threw, one of them was just a poorly underthrown ball, and the other one was him trying to make a play. And you know, you want your quarterback to want to make those plays, but also play within the scheme. And I thought Dudesy, for 99.9% of the night, did that. You know, he's a smart kid. He takes things very personal. He will learn from that game right there. But all in all, you know, Newman Smith, give credit to them. I mean, they were bringing lots of different stunts. And that's the thing about defenses. They can always bring one more than you can keep in to protect, and they did that. And at times we hurt them with that, because when you do that, you're in man coverage. And we were able to get on top of them a few times. But for the most part, you know, Dudesy played well. And our line, I thought, played real well, to be real honest with you, picking up those stunts. We'll just learn from it.
So they end up winning 21-17, score late touchdown. You're stopped on your drive. But what are some of the things, especially in these non-district games where they're not going to count towards going to the playoffs, how do you tell your team to learn from their mistakes in game one?
I think you have to talk to your team, and it's something we do all the time about perspective. We talk about perspective all the time, always keeping everything in perspective. You know, guys are never as good as they seem. Things are never as bad as they seem. It's staying even-keeled. It's keeping a perspective on things. And I told them on the next day, if we'd have gone out there and beat them 60-0, okay, we're 1-0, but we still got to go to work against Prosper the next week. If we go out there and get beat 60-0, you know, that's all in the past. It's all we learn from it. We move on. And I told them after the game, we need to use this to our advantage. We will probably play in a district game where we have the lead and somebody comes back on us, and we're going to have to know how to respond to that. Now, whether or not we choose to learn that lesson is yet to be determined, but it's out there. It's something that we can use to our advantage, and we will.
You have another strong team coming up next, as you mentioned, in Prosper. What sort of challenges are they going to pose on your team?
They have lots of challenges because they have lots of athletes everywhere. You know, Coach Kent Scott over there does a good job. I mean, they have some very, very talented kids in the Hunter brothers, and they have a big quarterback that moved in that's committed to Texas Tech that can really throw the football. They have a great scheme for him, and defensively, they're very big up front again. You know, they run to the ball well. They're very sound in what they do, and they play with fanatical effort. That's one thing. I went and watched them play Keller Friday night. I was very, very impressed with the effort that those guys played with, considering that a lot of them, 4 of them for sure, they don't ever leave the field. They're offense, defense, and special teams, and the effort that they play with we have to match that. We've talked to our kids about that, and that's something we'll talk about again today and tomorrow and all the way up till game time is you have to match effort with effort. And it's going to be a big challenge, but it's one I think our kids are excited about. They know some of those guys. Prosper's right next door to us here, so they know about them. They know about us. It'll be the first time we've ever played them, which will be interesting and fun. It's our first home game at Ron Post. There's a lot of things for us to get excited about.
And, Coach, again, a tough loss in your Week 0 game, but going into next week, good luck to you, and thanks for stopping by to talk to us.
I appreciate it.
And again, McKinney North playing Prosper next week. Their home opener should be a good one for the Bulldogs.